I always had this worry about telling people certain things that I liked. The worry about them having some awful reaction to anything that is of interest to me. And even though that's more than fine, it doesn't stop the fact that someone is downplaying something you use as an escape, a distraction. Although I'm pretty sure that that will be a common thing that other people also feel. And I've always felt it was more apparent when talking about a show or a movie that I really like, or hearing others express theirs to get hit with "it's not real" or "it's just a movie, series, musician." But see, I'm quite known to get lost in thought with a show or a book or a movie. If the world building and characters are good enough, it's almost like I'm lost in thought of me or a character being in that series. But even though all I'm really doing is simply enjoying something or appreciating someone's work, you can't help but ignore the fact that some people will still manage or find a way to shut it down. Although there is a person like that in every corridor of life, but with media or other entertainment, I feel it's almost pointless. Like, the whole purpose is to escape and enjoy something else for a little, but then your Uncle Nobed comes in and says the "it's not real" quote, or the "it's just a movie series," and ruins everyone's time. And the feeling is mutual to musicians. Their music can help you, like you know you're not alone, or just a voice when everything seems so hectic. I know personally I owe a lot to Kid Cudi and his Man on the Moon 1 album, but still, there are people who call it superficial, like you shouldn't be a fan or invested in something other than yourself, even though all that it achieves for you is some happiness. Obviously sitting in and just binging series on repeat isn't the best idea, although it might feel that, not looking at any shows specifically. It's really just for some calm, just some in general you time to enjoy, and in some cases the idea of sharing your big love for one is scary. Like, what if they don't like it as much as I do? Or they do like it, but I speak so much about it they'll think I'm a nerd or something. But it's one of those situations where you just gotta say, fuck 'em. I like it, and yes, I like it this much. And if that means that I'm vocal about it, then good on me, because it's made for inspiring and getting people talking. It's made to make your creative part go, let me try something, let me create something. Your social part to go, let me talk to my friends about this. I wonder if they thought the same as me. And that's not to say that it's not something that I haven't and don't still struggle with. An example is me telling people I liked or have more of a love really for gaming. See, I've been gaming since I was probably 3, maybe 4. My earliest memories are sitting on my dad's lap playing the OG Doom on his PC, or Castle Wolfenstein and Medal of Honor. And as I grew older, games became more and more apparent. It never left me when I started playing football, or soccer if you're American, or hockey, a little bit of basketball, and most importantly, going out with friends. And transformations person-wise I went through in school, they were just added on. It's the same now, although its place on the list of important things isn't as pivotal as it was back then. I still can't ignore though how lucky I was to get games. They helped me through some very hard times with their escapism, the exact same way a show or musician also does. Now maybe hearing me speak like that about games would make you think, oh, there's no way that you were shy about your high interest in them, but you'd be wrong. See, with COVID and lockdowns, playing games became normal, or at least semi-normalized. And I've been playing games since I was pretty much fresh out of the womb. And the older guys will feel it more, but even when I was a kid, if you played games loads, you were fat, spotty, ugly, a virgin, or a waste of space. As you can see, quite a bit of bad mouthing about what is simply a hobby. Now, I know older generations that play games. In fact, how I started playing Dark Souls and Souls-likes in the first place is due to an older friend of mine from work who loved the franchise and recommended it. But the bad mouthing made it so that I didn't want to really speak about games. If someone brings them up, I'll talk about them, but I keep myself away from talking about the specifics or talking about info that comes from outside the game for the sake of keeping a "I'm the same as you" mentality, which goes to show that constant battle with judgment I mentioned before, as I don't want them to think I'm nerdy, ugly, all the previous mentioned things, so I kept it to myself. Fortunately, the idea of being that involved and that keen on a musician or the most popular show is more accepted, and I never felt it had the same level of strain as gaming did. But even then, talking about shows or movies, it again goes back to the worry about what they'll think about how much you enjoy it. Luckily, my closest circle listens to me yap about all sorts, and I'm blessed for that. But for others, they might not have that, and they might not feel comfortable telling even the ones they feel are closest. In result, you might start to try and stop keeping up with or listening to it to try and move yourself away from it. I think all that does is just close the door, but leaving it jarred just a tiny bit to just open it back up in due time. Like, you're always going to enjoy the things you enjoy, the things you're passionate about, even if they are some made up world or just words being spoken in a more melodic manner. I mean, you're never going to be the only one that likes it that much. For instance, The Walking Dead. I love that show, comics and games, but I didn't speak about it largely for a long time. But it was one of the biggest shows ever, no? So it won't be like I'm some minority proportion that is big fans of it. I'm actually probably in the majority, and that sometimes having a willingness to be proud and be vocal about your interests or likes, then other people take it better too. I got my friend watching The Walking Dead recently, just kind of said, "Have you ever seen it?" To which he said no. I could have said, "Alright, sound," and just left it, but I really like the show. So instead, I said, "Alright, well, it's actually a really good show. Probably one of my favorites. The way the world works and characters. Nah, it's actually so good." And I think just that little bit of genuine interest for the thing I was talking about helped sway it from just a fleeting conversation to something that was us watching the series, and him asking about stuff and me being able to answer him, almost making me feel how cool the world of The Walking Dead is on first time viewing again. Now, if I would have listened to the voices that tell me to not overdo it or reveal too much, then that interaction would have never happened. I'd have never been able to share my express myself. So, if you like something like games, musicians, or a show or a movie, then talk about it, express it. Hell, if it piques your creativity, put yourself in the world or make a character for it, or even make your own stuff up with the inspiration that your interest in what is not real does. So it's not just left to be a distraction, but it's also a way to express yourself. Because what's the point of making tally or anything in the first place if we're supposed to choke down to the thought of it's not real or they're just a person? But I bet they still have a favourite show, movie, song, car. They'll have the exact same interests as you. It's just they might not give it the same value as you do. Which is fine, because if everyone loved the same thing, there'd be no difference. No difference means no change, and with no change, then there's no fun. We all like the same show, then we couldn't argue about the best show. That bit of human interaction would be gone. So if they tell you it's real, or that it's not, it doesn't matter. Enjoy your enjoyments, enjoy your life, and to be honest, that's all I've got for it. It might be more rambly than ever, but I hope there was something you could get out of it. After all, it's just the world from my perspective, really. Anyway, I appreciate you coming, and hope you stay safe.